I've seen this scenario before. You imagine when we started 20 years ago, nobody was using computers hardly, and and they were using their pagers, and in every instance, you had somebody who was very capable at their job. Just computer skills maybe weren't there, and so we always wanted to go slow and make sure that they're learning, the basics, and it's easy to do, and it helps them, and then they can grow whenever they're ready, like you said. So when you're looking at your teams across the country, how do you like, because there's some parts of the job that are quite difficult to learn, or it takes time to learn. Let's say, the regulations around fire safety and so on, and they, I would assume, don't all come in with that education. Do you provide anything around that scenario? How do you help your teams grow in their maintenance skills themselves?
Yeah. So again, my three regional facility managers are all very, very adept. Darren in Ontario, he's been working with aged care since September 6th last year. He worked for Chartwell for 20 plus years prior. Absolutely adept. Ryan comes from oil and gas. And so he's absolutely fantastic. He's got his class 4 boiler certificate. Again, very adept on all things HVAC. Now, Ragav out in BC, he comes in with a lot less experience, but I'll tell you, he's got such a great can-do attitude, Dan, and you show him once and he learns immediately. So having that depth of team is very helpful, first and foremost. But when we create PMs, as an example, we don't just say, go out and do that, fire extinguishers. We actually have a list of those 5 or those 6 things that you must do when you inspect that fire extinguisher. So you got to lift it up and make sure that it's full. You have to make sure that the gauge on it is reading in the green. You have to check the nozzle on it to make sure it's not blocked. You have to make sure that little pin is in place, and you got to make sure that little vinyl thing on there is holding it in place, those kinds of things, and then it's been signed. And so those step-by-step instructions are all in our PMs as well, Dan, and that's the sort of thing that is very helpful. If the checklist becomes too big, then we will utilize a checklist that they complete the PM with, but when they're finished, then they scan that checklist into the PM for the month.